Here as the days went by. Perhaps these leads will return as our legal proceedings move forward. That's what's fueling the resentment among his supporters on the streets, even without much evidence to back it up, and political allies too.
I'm going to stand with President Trump. If a Democrat were doing this, it'd be cheered on. And we're not going to let the media intimidate us into exploring whether or not these contests were fairly had.
But Washington's most powerful Democrats for now are already moving on from the Trump era.
President-elect Biden has a strong mandate to lead, and he'll have a strong Democratic House with him and many Democrats in the Senate. This has been a life-or-death fight for the fate of our democracy, as he says, the soul of our country. We did not win every battle in the House, but we did win the war.
The vote counting has been a slow process. Americans are impatient for some certainty, even if they don't accept the result.
Joe Biden's already begun the work of preparing the transition from the Trump administration to one of his own. We're told he's also reaching out to old political rivals to heal some divisions and show America that at a critical time he is ready to assume the office.
And may God bless you, and may God protect our troops.
32 years after his first run for president, the next time we see Joe Biden, he may well have finally secured that place in history. Greg Milam, Sky News, Wilmington in Delaware.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, has tested positive for COVID-19. It's unclear when he tested positive, but in this footage of the White House party on election night, he can be seen walking ahead of the Trump family without a mask. The news comes a month after President Trump was taken to hospital with COVID-19 before recovering within days. Alistair Bunkle's with me now. And Meadows, that news broke yesterday, didn't it, Tom?
Yeah, it did. It's quite extraordinary that a man right at the very heart of the White House, the president's, in many ways, most senior aide, now has coronavirus at the moment when we have a presidential election that is highly disputed, or at least the dispute is coming from the very centre of the White House. Mark Meadows, if you doubt how important he is to the president, how close he is to the president, he was one of the very few people who went to hospital with Donald Trump when the president was unwell. So it is quite a twist in events.
Bring us up to date with where we are with the various states. We know that 6 states remaining to give us a final result. Which is the most important? I guess the one with the most electoral college votes, which would have to be Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Pennsylvania has got 20 electoral college votes, so that is vital for both men to win. It's vital for Donald Trump because if he doesn't win it, then there is no other combination that he could be victorious. But it is vital for Joe Biden because if he does win it, that state alone will take him over the magic 270 number, and currently has a lead of just shy of 29,000, just below 30,000, which equates to 0.5% of the vote, which still puts him within recount territory, so he'll be mindful of that. Georgia is the second of the 4 states, which is very, very close. This would be a real coup for Joe Biden if he won it. The margins there are minute. His lead is 7,240, which is 0.1%. I mean, there will almost certainly be a recount in Georgia. It's not an automatic recount, but state officials are certain it will happen.
And where else are we looking at? Yes, let's
we go to Arizona. Let's go to Nevada, I'm being told. Nevada next.
To the desert.
Las Vegas, the home of Las Vegas. Now, this is currently in Joe Biden's favour, again, by what doesn't look there as though it's a huge margin, just over 22,500 votes. But Clark County, which is where Las Vegas is, and Clark County, here's a stat, more people live in Clark County than any other county elsewhere in the United States. So it's the most populous county of any state anywhere else in the United States. And Biden is picking up votes at 2-1 there. So the expectation, looking at the data, is that Joe Biden will only extend his lead further. And then Arizona, fourth but not least, again, Joe Biden is in the lead in Arizona. It has tightened, actually. What we were seeing in Arizona was kind of a reverse phenomenon, where we saw Joe Biden catching up and then overtaking Donald Trump. In Arizona, we've seen Donald Trump actually slightly close the lead on Joe Biden. I think the thing is he won't be closing it quick enough. Maricopa, where our team are at the moment, where Phoenix is, 60% of the population in Arizona, he is winning batches, Donald Trump, but he's under the threshold he needs to achieve. He needs to hit around, every time we hear a new batch, Donald Trump needs to be getting about 55 to 60% of those votes. He's not doing that enough. So, you've got 4 states there that really very realistically could all go to Joe Biden. And if you sort of wind back 48 hours, seems like a month ago, we were looking perhaps at this really kind of quite marginal victory for Joe Biden. When the dust settles, when everything is accounted at some point in the future, it could be that Joe Biden actually comes out of this with really quite a clear victory.
That's what he's hoping for, certainly. Ali, for the moment, thank you. Well, as we were discussing, Joe Biden is now ahead in Pennsylvania, and as his lead grows, so does the anger of Trump supporters gathered at counting centres. With 20 electoral votes, if Joe Biden wins there, he wins the presidency. 96% of the ballots have been counted, and Joe Biden now almost 30,000 votes ahead. Let's take you to our correspondent, Sally Lockwood, who's in Philadelphia for us today. And Sally, there are protests planned for later on today. There's going to be a march, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it was already pretty hectic down here yesterday, Gillian, but organisers of a march today, a march protesting for every vote to be counted, are expecting around 10,000 people to descend on Philadelphia today, so it's going to be even busier. And of course, Donald Trump still has a lot of support in Pennsylvania. This is a very divided state, and there were a number of Donald Trump supporters here yesterday, pretty upset and angry, claiming that they feel cheated somehow in this election, believing the president's claims that there has been widespread fraud, which of course there is no evidence for, but they believe every word he says, and they feel somehow that they've been robbed of this election. So they've been down here separated by police, and it's expected that there will be a heavy police presence here today, of course, to try and keep this peaceful. But there is also, of course, a sense that this is just a matter of time, that the 10,000 people expected to descend on Philadelphia will probably be celebrating sometime soon, when eventually this state is called. Of course, Joe Biden has increased his lead here. Donald Trump was ahead by around 18,000 votes this time yesterday. Now Joe Biden has a lead of around 30,000 votes, nearly 30,000. There's still 100,000 in the courts. He was saying just last night on Twitter that he still plans to fight this legally. I should say that yesterday the Supreme Court got involved for the first time in this election post the election day. And they responded to a Republican request to have late ballots stopped counted here in Pennsylvania. The Supreme Court ruled that ballots coming in up to 3 days after Election Day, provided they had the postmark of Election Day or before, could still be counted. The Republicans have contested that. The Supreme Court yesterday ruled that they should remain separated but still be counted. And interestingly, of those late ballots, they are only amounting to around 3,000 to 4,000 votes. So at the moment, as you look at it with the figures, it would be immaterial if they were discounted anyway.
Indeed, academic. Sally, thank you.